As a Christian, I don't like to talk bad about people. Uh, so
As a scorned talent, on the other hand, I'm just kidding.
on the flip side, if I put my Batman mask on and now I'm a scorned talent, no, he just, he just isn't. It's if you're not
If
somebody.
everybody's wondering, sorry to cut you off, Mark Carano, he was on what show? I was
think he was on Breaking Ground. He's been on a few different shows,
Breaking
right?
Ground, and I'm pretty sure he's on Total Divas and Total Bellas like all the
I don't
time.
watch those shows, but yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, I heard,
I don't.
I read a recap. I watch him all the time. But
Yeah.
continue. So that's who Mark Carano is. I'm guaranteed if you watch Breaking Ground or any of the Total Diva Bella shows, you've seen him. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most fans are that are in the loop or whatever, they'll know who he is. But he, yeah, I think I got there like a little bit early. Like I definitely was early, but they say in the email like don't be any more than 5 minutes early to go talk to him because he's just too busy. And it's understandable. He's definitely like one of the busier guys there, especially at TV. So I went there and I'm like, hey, how are you? And I was like timid. I was nervous. I was quiet. And I was like, hey, how are you? Here for extra talent. And he just didn't even look up from his computer. So I like stood there for a minute. I like, I had both my hands in my pockets. I like said it again. He didn't answer. He didn't look up. And the referee Chad Patton.
sure, yeah.
So he's standing by the door and he's like, "What's up, man? You're extra?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't worry about it. Just go to the extra, dressing room. You'll find it. There's signs. Don't worry, bro. We know you're here." I'm like, "Okay, cool." First failed test. Uh,
Steve Reich won.
yeah, exactly. So I go, I change or whatever, and how it was then was William Regal was always there, and he was in charge of all the extras. So he would bring us up into the empty arena, citizen seats, talk to us about the business, talk to us about WWE, talk to us about what's expected, blah blah blah. And I don't mean blah 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 disrespectfully because every word that came out of that guy's mouth was like the Midas touch, but with words. Everything was just gold when he would speak. Um, and he was just so brilliant, man. And it was cool because while we were sitting there, Fandango was debuting that week. And I think I heard Fandango's theme song more times in that hour that we were sitting out there than it's played since in his wrestling career. Like they rehearsed his entrance 7,000 times. And then it was cool because then it was the first time I had seen like Triple H in that role of wearing the headset, going through the entrances, doing production stuff, and he he did the Undertaker's entrance because the Undertaker was coming back that night. And it was cool because we were talking, and all of a sudden the lights go out, and the whole music plays, the pyro, the fire starts going, and it's Hunter in his like leather jacket and his jeans with a headset on, like doing the entrance.
Try to stay focused. Meanwhile, Undertaker's coming out. No problem.
Yeah, we're talking to Regal, and like everybody's like sitting up straight, like looking him in the eye, and then that goes on, and we're like, what? And we're watching Triple H in street clothes do his entrance. It was just, and it was old school Raw, which was so cool. Um, but yeah, so then a little bit after that, Regal's like, "Oh, if anybody didn't check in, you guys can go check in now," or something like that. I remember being like, "Oh, I checked in," right? Like, I wasn't thinking about it. And then I went over to Carano's office, and he called my name out, and he's like, "Is he here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm right here." I was like, "I came over you before, but one of the guys had said, and he's like, well, one of the guys' name's Mark Carano." I'm like, "No." And I was like, I tried to say something to you and you didn't look up from your computer. I have a problem with, there's one thing I have a problem with because from being a wrestler is just like being respectful. You know what I'm saying? I understand who he is. The only person I would take something like that from would be Vince McMahon ever in wrestling would be Vince. I would let him say whatever he wanted, do whatever he wanted. What am I going to say? It's Vince McMahon. But I was like, oh, it was one of the referees. I started to say stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't want to dime this guy out. And like it was Chad Patton, it was this guy. He told me, I was just like, oh, one of the referees, said, that I was good, and just don't worry about it. He was like, well, yeah, that's not what it says in your email, blah blah. And he was just going off on me, and I'm like, I started to like snap back at him, and then I was like, no, bad idea. First time here, like I want a job. So
yeah, you went from punching him in the face to apologizing. I'd probably do the same thing. I'm like, you're right, sir.
I just kind of straightened up and was like, okay, yes, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yes, yes, sir. You're right. Sorry. And then like 2 minutes later, he gave us the paperwork. We filled it out anyway. And he was like, said he was like standing by me. It was me and one other kid. So it wasn't just me, thank God. He said something to the other kid and I was like, hey man, listen, I'm sorry. I apologize. That was my bad. And he was like, "Ah, don't worry about it. Worse things have happened, no problem." And it was like a 10,000 pound weight lifted off my chest because I thought I had bad. I'm gonna get heat already with the company being there for 3 hours.
That was it. You're there for like 2 hours, and it's
Yeah,
like, we don't need you anymore.
yeah, and I'm already like all the years I put in, I'm already done. Um, so side story to that too is you guys know Biff Busick? He's Uni Lorcan in NXT.
Sure. Yeah. Big fan of Biff. Watched him evolve for a long time.
So he like side story to that. A few extras, a couple of years later, I was still doing extra stuff, and I was with him, and I told him that story, and he was like, "Bro, do you know that?" He told me Mark Carano blacklisted him from wrestling. Like a couple of years before that, like he had made a mistake somewhere, and Carl's like, "You're blacklisted from wrestling. You'll never be here again." Blah blah. And now he's signed to NXT. So it was.
Mark Carano kind of seems like he really is who he thinks he is. That kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just funny because I was so scared, thinking I just blew my shot. But meanwhile, I mean, the things he said and done to people, now they're there and they're signed. But man, so that was that, and I wound up being a security guard that night. I broke up a fight with Del Rio and Jack Swagger, and Regal came up and saw me in the security thing. He's like, "They got you on?" I was like, "Yes, good." I was like, "Sweet." And then like while I'm standing there waiting, this is a really funny story. So I had seen Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan walking past me. I was sitting on one of those WWE crates in the back by Gorilla, just watching guys. And I know a $1 Million Man, Teddy Biasti. He did a lot of stuff at our church. So I was sitting there over by him, and then they asked him to move out of the way because they were going to film them walking by. And I was like, well, they didn't ask me to move out of the way. So I stayed there. And I had my suit on, and they walked by, and I did this whole gimmick. And you could see, like, they're walking by like this, and the camera's like where my phone is, right? So they walk by, and I do the thing where I look right towards the camera, so I make sure my face gets on it, and I like look at Kane and kind of sell it, like, "Whoa, these guys are huge," and I let them go past me.
Going into business for yourself on night one, nice. That's what I would do.
And I was like, "Listen," I told people I was doing this, so like, man, if I can get an opportunity to get my face on Raw, I got to take it. So I do that, but I didn't know it was a pre-tape. I thought it was live. Right. So I'm standing in my security shirt waiting for this fight to happen. And there's a little monitor showing what's going on live. And it's that pre-tape of them walking and me in my suit. They go to commercial break. And I'm like, this segment's next. So if anybody saw that, they just saw me in my suit. And then within 2 minutes, I'm in a security guard outfit breaking up a fight. So this is how my first WWE experience.
I mean, you'd really have to know who you are, like to see that. But that's tough. You're hoping Vince isn't watching that with like a magnifying glass.
Yeah. I mean, like if you really, I mean, because there's guys that are watching it like that, and I was the only one. It wasn't like there was people having conversation and stuff. I was the only one standing there when Team Hell No walked by. So it wasn't like I was getting lost in a sea of other extras. It was just me. So it was just funny. And then I broke up the fight with them right afterwards, but it was just funny. And then Bray Wyatt, who was funny because he was just coming off Husky Harris, and he wasn't Bray Wyatt yet, and he just all of a sudden is standing next to me, like almost like a phantom. There's a few guys there that are like that. Adam Rose, another one. Like you could think you're standing completely by yourself, and then all of a sudden he just appears next to you with his arm on your shoulder, like, "Hey, man." And so he was standing there. He's like, "Hey, bro." And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" I didn't recognize him because I wasn't really watching too much of the product, and he was off TV for a little bit. And he was growing the beard and doing all that stuff, so he looked a little different. And he's like, "You're an extra?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "So you trying out?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Bro, I got signed in this building, man. So good luck. Like anything's possible." I was like, "Oh, cool. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Congratulations."
This guy Bray Wyatt, never would have assumed he was such a forthcoming individual.
No, he's so nice, bro. But I literally was like, oh, and me being so stupid and being like, my head was in the clouds because I was at WWE. I'm like, "Oh, cool, man. Thanks. And congratulations on getting signed, bro. Good luck to you." Like, meanwhile, he'd already been on TV and now he's doing
on Raw and SmackDown for like a year or two by then. So it's like,
I just couldn't have done anything else wrong at that point. And I, in my own head, because I'm just such a stickler for doing the right thing. And this is what I wanted to do my whole life. And I finally had a shot. So like, anytime I could kick myself, I was doing something to kick myself. So that was the first thing. I worked a match. All the matches you do is at SmackDown. Raw, you kind of just hang out and eat catering and hope to get an extra thing like being a security guard or something, unless they're doing like a squash or something like that, and you get lucky enough to get picked. And then SmackDown, the next day we wrestled. I had an absolute just garbage match. It was terrible. I was like, I'm never getting called back here again. Um, and then that was it. I never had to call them again. I did something right because then they started calling me every time they were in the area after that. The Coliseum, Barclays Center, Buffalo, Albany. I did Rhode Island, Massachusetts, like anything in Connecticut, anything in the tri-state area. They called me for after that.
How many tryout matches would you say you had? Oh, tryout dark matches. I mean, because like you said, people understand it was before the dark match, right? He said it was pretty much empty arena with just the agents and whatnot.
Yeah, according to them, the only tryout I ever had was Performance Center because they don't consider the extra spots a tryout unless you completely stand out in some big way. Um, I wrestled. I wrestled one, two, three. I did 5 matches for them before like SmackDowns with an empty arena and just the boys and the agents. A funny story from one of them. Big E was in the ring. They were teaching him stuff. So I was sitting up in the empty arena in one of the seats, and Matt Stryker just walked past me, and he's like, he didn't even say nothing. He walked past me, looked straight, and he goes, "You're not going to get noticed sitting in the bleachers, Mike," and just kept going. And I was like, "Oh," well, I kind of got up and like, well, I guess that's my cue, and I walked over by the ring, but I didn't know if I was allowed over there because everybody was in there working spots and going over their matches and stuff. So I just like kind of wandered over there, and Arn Anderson was like, "You come here, and we need him to do a move." And I went in the ring with Big E, and he gave me a shoot back body drop. And so what I mean by that is I did nothing, and I didn't know he was going to even do it. They were like, "All right, just get in the ring. He's going to do a couple things to you." And I looked at him like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "How you doing?" He's all right. You go ahead, and he shot and picked me up and just flipped me up over his head in like a split second. I was upside down, like, "Oh, gee," and I like flipped and bumped, and they were like, "All right, cool." And that was all I did, but it was just cool to get in there and do something with one of them. So that was one cool thing, and then it was I think one after that. It was the first time I met Biff. He had wrestled 2 matches, which wrestling there, especially when you're used to indies, you get blown up. If you get blown up in 20 minutes in an indie match, you get blown up in 5 minutes in a match there. The ring's bigger, it's more solid. It's built for bigger guys. There's an extra stride when you're running the ropes. The lights are on. There's pressure of all the agents being there. You get blown up a lot faster because there's so much going on and so many things different. And he worked 2 matches with 2 guys, and afterwards I was like, "Yo, bro, respect, man." I didn't know who he was, by the way. And it's not like because I'm anything. I never followed the indies ever. Once I got on the indies, I never ever watched anything indies because I just felt like I'm in the same boat as all these guys. Like I'm not going to become fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be a fan.
Is it almost sorry to cut you off? Is it almost a thing too where like you're in the indies, you want to do your own thing, you don't want to subconsciously steal somebody else's or have an idea and you're like, I don't want to do that, I want to be different.
Yeah, that too. But it was also just like I'm trying to do the same thing these guys are doing. If they're in WWE, then they did something that I'm not doing, so I want to see what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like now there's somewhere for lack of a better term, if they're signed, now there's somewhere I've never been. I didn't make it there yet. Yeah, I've had my little extra spots and matches, but I never made it to that level. So now I'll watch you. You know what I mean? Like, and that doesn't mean I'm better than anyone. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just that we're on the same boat right now. So we're not doing anything different. Me and you are on the same level. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know who he was, and or that he had the steam he had, or however you want to put it, on the indies and stuff. And I think he just appreciated that I wasn't blowing smoke. I was just genuinely like, "Yo, dude, I got respect for that, bro. Like, you got some good cardio, man." I just was being real with him. So then the next time I saw him, we kind of just attracted right to each other. And he like isolated himself from all the other extras. Like every time I did it from then on, it was like Big O, and Big O's a big dude, a great look and a very nice guy, but very loud. You know what I mean? He says things he shouldn't say. He was, obviously says things he didn't say. If you guys know the story about his Tough Enough tryout, he says things he shouldn't say. Like he blew that pretty quick.
Well, I don't know the story about his Tough Enough tryout, actually.
And I could be wrong. I mean, but from what I know is that he cursed in his promo during his Tough Enough tryout, and they sent him right home.
That's day one stuff. How do you curse in a Tough Enough promo?
Bush
Dude, I don't know, but I don't know if that's true, and I don't want to get myself